In today's episode, I'm letting you in behind closed doors to listen to a coaching call that I had with Luke. Luke runs a lion's mane supplement company. He's been in business for 2 years. He's doing okay, but the problem he's having is he's not making profit. In this episode, we're going to unpack Luke's problems, and I'm going to give him some strategic advice that he can use to turn his business around and start making profit. And hey, if you want to come on the show and get some live coaching like this episode where I did with Luke, send me an email. My email is in the show notes of this episode. We don't have to get into the details and numbers if you don't want to. Luke is very generous with the numbers, but you don't have to be. Here we go. Welcome to Health Business Mastery, the Creative Thirst podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Hewitt. Hey, Luke, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Cool. Your voice has been echoing through the corridors of my car, and I've really learned a lot from your podcast. So really appreciate you taking the time to sit down here with me and work through the funnel.
So tell me a little bit about your business and the main problem you're struggling with.
Yeah, absolutely. So my company is lionsmaneextracts.com. And what we do is we sell premium handcrafted lion's mane liquid extracts. We're about 2 years into the business right now. We've done about, I think we just crossed 650K in revenues. So we're doing good. But as we'll discuss here in a minute, profit is the problem.
So profit could mean a lot of things, right? Profit could mean that your margins are just too low, or profit could mean that you're not able to acquire a buyer at a low enough cost. Maybe your average order value is too low, or your lifetime value is too low. But walk us through like what your funnel looks like first.
The way that the funnel works is there's a TSL on ClickFunnels, and everybody reorders through a Shopify site that I've created.
And up to this point, have there been any split tests? What kind of tests have you done?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of tests. I've tested TSLs. I've tested like e-com hybrids where also built in ClickFunnels, but kind of looks more like a Shopify site, but just with longer copy. I've tested going straight to the product page, the advertorials. One of the issues that I've run into with the split testing is I basically just, if I do a losing test, because I'll back you up just a minute. So I started the company with 10 grand in the bank account. So it's been pretty tough. Like when I have a losing split test, it'll drain me. So like from day one, like I've been trying to profit on the front end, which I know now is very difficult to do in the supplement business, at least on your first shot. So yeah, basically I'll run a test on the TSL. If it wins, I'm all happy. It's good. If I have a losing test, then it can drain me out pretty quick. Because what I've been doing due to the low volume, instead of 50-50 testing, I just do 100% tests. So I'll just launch the next version, see how it goes, launch the next version. I know that's a little wild card, but just due to the low volume and wanting to get results quickly, it's served me in the past, and it's definitely helped me. Like our cost per sale on Facebook started at $250 cost per sale. And then as of late, at least when I reached out to you, it was at about $125 cost per sale. So I've been chipping away at it, but in the process, losing a decent amount of money. I'm in about $70,000 debt with the business and chipping away at it, but running out of inventory as well. So those are kind of like the main issues, is just trying to split test my way to the gold, which I feel like I'm very close to with this advertorial. But yeah, also accumulating a lot of debt and running out of inventory, and just that balancing act, I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Yeah, that's kind of the reality that nobody really talks about a lot, right? And I think the way you're testing it right now is kind of perfect for your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really did an 80-20 split, it would take you a lot longer and you don't have the time. It would be less risky, sure, but in the long run, it may just be as expensive because you'd have to run it longer and you don't have the volume. Right, that's the other key factor there.
Yeah, I remember you sent out an email recently about that was actually pretty controversial, I would imagine, on split testing. I think you were talking about testing multiple variables at once versus the single variable testing that everyone seems to recommend. And I was like, I was like, that's my guy. Like this guy knows what it's like. Because the big guys, I'll tell you, oh, like you got to isolate the button color, and it's like, man, that's not going to do anything significant, especially when you're starting out and have low budgets, low volume.
Absolutely. It's a completely different testing strategy at that level than it is at like the Amazon level. And nobody ever talks about those low level ways to optimize. So thanks for bringing that up. That's really important step, actually.
Yeah, I sent that email to a lot of my buddies in the industry. I thought that was really great.
Thanks for sharing. That's awesome. So let's get into some numbers. How is your funnel performing?
On Google, our Shopify version of the advertorial is pulling $50 cost per sale. And I've since added upsells to the Shopify flow. I've gotten the Shopify website pulling an AOV of 114 now. So I've gone up from 80 to 114, just installing some apps in the back end to do the upsell flows. And yeah, so $50 cost per sale, 114. That one's essentially breaking even on the front end currently on Google. On Facebook, the cost per sale is a bit higher.
Just an update on this. Since speaking to Luke in this podcast episode, after this episode with the advice I gave him, he's now on track to do $130,000 this month. Now back to the show. That's actually not bad. Like those numbers are pretty good, right? Because your AOV is higher than your cost per acquisition. So where's the big bottleneck? Like what's the problem in the business that we can solve for you today?
I would say the biggest struggle is I've taken out loans with Shopify and Stripe. And the way that the payback is, I just got myself into a very tough spot. Stripe takes 20% off every dollar that comes in immediately. And then Shopify does the same thing and they do 14%. So I'm paying 34% off of every dollar in revenue. And it just goes back to paying off that 70K debt that I mentioned. And that debt is directly with Shopify and Stripe. I don't have any other debt. It's just coming from those two. So yeah, 34 cents off of every dollar, just out the door on day one, which from a cash flow perspective, I'm sure you can imagine how difficult that would make things, on top of, trying to split test and having some losing tests here and there. So that's the current problem right now. The problem, let's say 90 days ago, was getting into that debt, which I turned off the funnel that was putting me into the debt. Essentially why I was getting into the debt was the AOV was a little under 200, and the cost per sale was 125-ish, and my profit per order was 94. So I was losing roughly $30 every time I made a sale on the front end. And that was how I got into the debt and basically just grinding on that. So long way of answering. The main problem today is how do I navigate that 34% off the top of every dollar, given my current numbers and all that. So it's I feel like I'm onto some gold here. Like the numbers are looking good. We're trending in the right direction. It's just navigating that tricky spot of the reality of where I am with this right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to the economics of the funnel. And this is purely an economics of the funnel problem. So to back out of the funnel before we get into that next, that debt that you're taking on, all of that money, I'm imagining is going to advertising, like ad spend.
Yeah, pretty much. Like when I pulled out the loans, it was going into inventory and advertising. That's pretty much it.
That's good. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really just if you can have debt at better terms, right, at a lower interest rate, because you're getting double bumped there with Stripe and Shopify. If you could have a better terms, then you can have access to cash flow, and your economics would be a lot different, right? Well, you got access to even the same amount of cash flow. So have you ever looked at? That's pretty much equal, if not a little bit higher than like a credit card debt.
Yeah. I think so. This is like a new problem. Previously, I was getting into the debt and the numbers weren't necessarily looking good. Like this is the first time the numbers are looking good while I'm looking at the debt. And I'm like, I agree with you. the logical step forward would be getting a better loan at some better rates. Right now, I guess I'm not fully confident that even if I did that, the funnel would keep going, because like you said earlier, sometimes when I scale it, it breaks. And that's certainly been the case on Facebook. So even with this latest advertorial funnel, the first 2 weeks I ran it, cost per sale 45. And as soon as I try to scale it up, shoots up to 125. And granted, I mentioned we were testing a lot, like 20 to 40 new creatives a week. So there's a lot of waste, like lessons in there that are costing some money. And if we just stick with the winners, we could probably slash that cost per sale down immediately, at least down under 90 or so. However, yeah, that's been the issue. So I am a little hesitant to just, I guess I have to take on more debt at this point and take on a different type of debt. But yeah, I guess what I'm thinking about is after I do that, like, let's say we snap our fingers, I got better terms. Let's say I'm at like 15% or 18% instead of 34%. It's like, am I going to be able to navigate and pull in profits to even pay that back and move from there? I don't know if that made any sense, but that's just
no, that makes perfect sense, because another kind of dirty little secret nobody talks about is the amount of cash flow that a funnel actually needs to like continue to just sustain itself, not profit, but even just keep going, like keep the business flowing, is quite high. It's very difficult to do that with just putting the profits back into the business. In my opinion, that never really works. You never have enough profits to really get off the ground, and then you wind up just landing the plane because you've never really took off the runway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think cash flow and debt is kind of just par for the course, unfortunately. Obviously, if you have your own sort of savings that you could put into the business, that would be better than taking on debt, right? There's also equity debt, right, where you're sort of selling the company and giving away a portion of that equity. It's difficult to do at this stage because it's still young, right? And it's not profitable, and you haven't there's nothing sexy enough for an investor to come in and say, "Oh, I'm going to give you, $1 million here because it looks promising." If you can build it up to that level where it is sexy enough for an investor, honestly, you probably don't need an investor.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thoughts as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things here that I think could solve this, right? One, obviously, finding better terms, right? That's kind of outside of the marketing funnel, right? And then the other side is all more marketing optimizations, right? So you're doing a great job with the amount of testing you're doing on the front end. I think the business looks like, and you've shared your data with me for all the listeners as well before this call, so I have insight into the whole funnel, with the exception of this new landing page that you're testing. But I have seen it on Instagram. So I think what the business seems to be missing is it looks like it's weak in some of the upsells. So we can get a higher average order value. Not that your AOV of 220 is bad. It's really good. It needs to be higher so that you can offset the profit, so that you can pay off the debt, so that you can get better business. So that's one area which we'll go into. The second area is the back end. And the back end is really email flow, which we haven't really talked about over email or at all, really. How is your email flow looking? Because really the name of the game for supplements, right, is to acquire a customer typically at a loss, right? Everybody touts the secret is a break-even customer, and then you can print money. It doesn't really work that way. It's people are typically acquiring a customer at a loss, and then they're making up that loss on the back end. The back end is everything we sell them after day one. So not the upsells, not the front end, but everything in that email sequence once we've acquired the customer. So how does your email sequence look once you have a buyer? Are you putting them through any email campaigns, or are they just kind of going into?
Yeah. So I use ActiveCampaign currently, and I have it set up so everybody gets a 5-day welcome sequence. And what that welcome sequence will do is, for example, in our front end funnel for the listeners, we have lion's mane, cordyceps, and reishi. We have 2 other SKUs, but those are the ones that they're going to see: lion's mane on the front end, cordyceps as our first upsell/cross-sell, and then reishi is the third. So what I do on the email sequence is, if they took cordyceps, for example, but not reishi, I'll send them a couple emails about reishi, pitching reishi, and vice versa. If they took the reishi but they didn't take the cordyceps, I'll push the cordyceps. And if they didn't take either of the upsells, obviously I'll pitch little bundles and things like that of the cordyceps and reishis. So that is as far as I've done. So that's about 5 days ish. And I do occasionally send out emails to the list, but I haven't dropped any. We have a customer list of about 4,000 right now. I haven't dropped any affiliate offers. Every 2 or so months, I'll do like a flash sale. And when I do send those out, I get about $1 per subscriber, and a little bit more. But I haven't done a whole lot as far as email marketing. I know there's a lot left on the table there, but I think I have some of the basics in place, but I'm curious if you have any recommendations there. Absolutely.
Yeah, those are absolutely the basics, and it's good that you have even that, right? The affiliate emails are also a great way to add if you don't have enough SKUs to sell them, right? And 5 SKUs is pretty good. You can definitely build a multi-million-dollar supplement company with 5 SKUs. But I think you can, it's always good to add affiliate emails in there once you've kind of maxed out what you can get with your own 5 SKUs. So it's great that you're selling them the stuff they didn't buy in the flow. You do have those other 2 SKUs, right, that they haven't even seen yet. How quickly does the email go out? That 5-day sequence, does it start immediately? Does it start 30 days after?
Yeah, it starts on day 1. So we do all our fulfillment through Shopify. So they're going to get the Shopify order confirmation. And then alongside of that, pretty much instantly or within 15 minutes, they're going to get an email from me. Luke the Lion is like the caricature. And, Luke the Lion's going to give them all these tips on how to get the most out of their lion's mane. And part of those recommendations are buying the other products.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So it needs to go out fast. And that's great that it goes out immediately, because that's when the buyer is the hottest, right? They just bought from you. The likelihood of them buying again is really high, and it just diminishes over time. Yeah. So it's really an email sequence that if they don't take an upsell, they're getting an offer. But the people that are taking upsells, are they also getting offers, or are they excluded from that list?
No, yeah, you're correct. They're not getting offers. Like if they took the upsells, they're just getting the, how to take our products to be more efficient. Yeah, and I haven't dropped my latest 2 SKUs. Those are brand new, like the last couple of weeks. I haven't launched those to the list yet. So I could definitely do some of that.
Yeah, so when those 2 SKUs come out, you could release them one at a time, right? And you can do, depending on what they are and if they're complementary or not, right? But if they're not too complementary, you could do them one at a time, just to get more life out of it, right? 4,000 email list is pretty good. You can do some good revenue with that. But over time you'll have like people that are not wanting to hear from you, or you're just exhausting the list.
Sure.
But I think stretching it out into 2 sort of big, giant, grand opening flash sales, new products kind of thing to everybody would be a great way to increase the lifetime value overall to help the ROAS. And those buyers, those are your best people, right? Because they just went through the funnel, they bought the upsells, they bought a lot of the front end lion's mane product. And those people are the hottest, and that's definitely an opportunity that's kind of missing that I'm hearing, because those are people that want to buy again, right? So we need a sequence for those guys. That sequence, I mean, I like the sequence that they're on now, right? They're helping them get started, which is great, because you do also want to think about compliance and people taking the product. If they don't take the product, they're not going to stick on the product. They're going to, refund all the upsells that they just bought. So the sequence that kind of gets them warmed up to like, okay, you're getting ready to take it. Here's how to take it. Here's what you're going to expect. All that's great and necessary. But I think we need to funnel in, some more offers there. Essentially, what I would do is it might be a little tough because you're selling high volume.
Very high volume. We have up to 48 bottles will be taken. So we have front end purchases of 1,500 plus.
Yeah, so it might be hard to sell them more lion's mane on that front end. However, if you really look at the numbers, you've got a good amount of people taking that first bump offer to get more of the same, right? Which is tried and true in a supplement funnel. That's great. Ideally, you want to treat the different offer buyers differently, right? Because you got your one bottle buyers who you're only upselling them 3 more bottles. So they've got 4 bottles max, right? They could use a lot more, especially if you're talking about heavy dosage and front loading.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to run out pretty quick. So those guys could use a six bottle, even a 12 bottle offer email. That would really bump, right. That would really bump your revenue up. And I'm also assuming, I'm not assuming. So that would really have so you've already took the money out to pay for the ad spend. Now we're making it up on that back end. We're making it up in that email, right? And easiest way to make it up is in the buyers who are the hottest right now who just bought. And that seems to be the weakness in the email flow, right? So to get started, you could just do the same for everybody, no matter what they bought. Might not work as well for the 6 bottle people and the 3 bottle people if you're selling more of the same email, but it's just better to get it rolling and implemented before you slice and dice it.
I hear you.
Yeah. So then also I would recommend at some point they're going to be running out. They're going to need more lion's mane specifically, at least, because that's your core product. So some sort of flow that triggers on a date that's like, here's the estimated date of when these people should start running out. If you're selling in 1 bottle, that's typically 30 days, right? But that might be a little tricky for you to figure out because you're selling in more than 1 bottle here. So maybe it's a 60-day, maybe it triggers at a 90-day. You want it to trigger before they run out.
I can be very specific with it, thankfully through ClickFunnels, because I can, like when they do the upsell, I can add tags. So I'll know exactly how much they took. And let's say they come in and they buy the 1 bottle and they upsell, take the 3 more. I can trigger that to happen, just at the end of right before the 4-month mark or whatever, right before they would need to order. So I can get very specific with it. I haven't taken the time. This is definitely reminding me to not be lazy about it. Quick question on the 6 bottle upsell to the 1 pack buyers over email. Would you do that on day 1, or would you give them like a week to try it and understand that they like it and realize how quickly they're going through the bottle before you try to pitch them 6 more?
Personally, I would do it on day 1. It's something you want to test though, because you never know, right? But I'm thinking on day 1 is that this is where they're the hottest. They just bought, right? So the likelihood of them buying again on day 1 is actually the highest compared to, 30 days later, even 2 weeks later when they got their product. A lot of people wait until they get their product, and I think it cools down a little too much. If you can time it like exactly when they get their product or really, really close to it, like they got their product Monday and then the email goes out Tuesday, that could work because there's still some excitement of it, right? You still got the package, you opened it. It's like, oh, I got this thing. You probably haven't even tried it yet. So that could work, but it's really hard to time.
Yeah, I could definitely have a trigger out. So when Shopify gives the delivered email, that could go through Zapier and trigger out through ActiveCampaign to send them, hey, buy 6 more. Or we could do it when we could actually go as specific as when it's out for delivery. So as soon as they get the out for delivery, so maybe they've purchased it right before it shows up on their doorstep. Who knows? Yeah, I love technology.
Yeah, that's worth a try too. I think what would be a little harder, but if you could pull it off, I think it would be a little better. Is do you like, hey, your cart is kind of still open. We haven't packed up your stuff yet.
Ooh,
You want to buy 6 more via email, and we'll add it. No extra shipping cost. Because then you've got urgency automatically built in. Because hey, we're not going to hold your order open, for longer than whatever 24 hours, or you could even say less than that in the email. So you need to act on this right now if you want it.
I like that a lot. And a follow-up question would be, if we offered them, our offer is 50% off of 3 bottles for those 1-pack buyers. Would you give them more of a discount personally? Or would you give them the same discount? Or would you maybe add in like, do 6 bottles, we'll pack them up in your order, 50% off, but we'll actually add in a bonus bottle, or we'll add in a bonus bottle of one of our cross sells. How would you sweeten up that deal? Because my thoughts go, well, if they said no to the 3 bottles at 50% off, why would they take it at 6 bottles? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would first try the exact same offer. I've had tests where we had an upsell number one, and they said no to the offer, and then the next downsell was actually the same exact offer.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
people
crazy.
still took it. Yeah. It's like we didn't sweeten the deal. We didn't come down in quantity or price. We just said, hey, you missed out. Are you sure you like it's a second chance offer kind of thing? Same offer, same pricing, everything, and more people bought. So it's really counterintuitive.
That's wild.
Yeah, it really is. So I would start with the same exact offer, right? Especially since your margins are tight when you're factoring in your debt,
Yeah,
right? Because that's really
definitely.
the nut we're trying to solve here, right? Is to factor that, is to get over that hump. So I would do the same exact offer, because if you sweeten your deal, you'd be hurting your profitability per buyer.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. That sounds cool.
Let's get into the funnel actually a little bit. So yeah, you mentioned your front end, you're doing a 1-3-6, and then your funnel's actually pretty sophisticated. There's really like 3 funnels in one here, because you're
Yeah.
sending the upsell path down different pathways depending on what they bought on the front end, right? So if you bought 1 bottle, you're getting a different upsell flow than if you bought a 3 bottle or 6 bottle. It's really kind of the same. It's a different flow, but it's the same offers for everyone listening, and it's the same sales page copy, right? So it's not like there's a billion different pages. There are, but they're all more or less duplicates with different offers. So what you're doing is very sophisticated, right? You're saying the 1 bottle buyers, those are the worst buyers. So I'm not going to push too hard on the upsell, right? The first upsell, which is actually really a bump offer on your order page, is buy 3 more of the bottles. But the 6 bottle buyers, the bump offer is buy 12 more, which makes sense. They're a better buyer, so you're trying to get more out of them. And the bump offers on the order page is converting pretty well. It's okay if I share the numbers of conversion?
Yeah, absolutely. And for clarity for the listeners, I'm not sure exactly what I sent you back then, but the 1 bottle bumps them up to a 3-pack. The 3 bottle bumps them up to a 6-pack, and the 6-pack bumps them up to a 12-pack. Just for clarity.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Yeah. So the conversion rate on that bump ranges between 24 to 32% across all 3 of those, which is pretty good on a bump offer. I think there's definitely some clarity issues in those bump offers. So the bump offer is, and how your order page works here is, you've got a 2-step order page. So first step is, put in your shipping and your name and all that kind of stuff. Second step is payment, and that's where you offer the bump offer, right? It's the typical ClickFunnels bump. Click a box and you get the thing. But I'm looking at your 1 bottle, and all of them are similar. But I'm looking at your 1 bottle order page here, and the bump offer is limited because of click funnels. Just the tech is limited, I think. And the headline of the bump is, yes, I want three. I want a three. So here's there one bottle in the cart, and the bump is, yes, I want a 3-month supply instead of only one. Add $61.50 to your order, and you'll save $61.50 on a 3-pack. So the use that you're using the number there twice, $61.50, add $61.50, save $61.50.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Usually when you put more numbers together, it gets more confusing. It's also unclear as far as what you're getting. You're getting a 3-month supply, but I already have one in my cart. So am I going to get 2 more bottles at 61? Am I going to get 3 more bottles? And the truth is actually it's a BOGO deal, because directly under that you have like the terms of the deal. And the terms of the deal, smaller text and actually more powerful than the actual top text. Right. So
I can totally see that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You've got one-time offer, which is great because people are scared of subscription. On this page only, you can get our special buy 2, get 1 free offer. Add $61.50 to your order. We'll send you 3 bottles instead of only 1. If you're serious about unlocking your mental clarity, this is a major power move because lion's mane benefits compound over time. Good copy there. There are a few things. So that is secondary to the copy that's above it, bigger, bolder. This is actually more clear copy than the copy above it. So like the buy 2, get 1 free is a really strong offer, but I'm missing that because it's in the terms and conditions, small font underneath the thing. So add $61.50 to your order, and we'll send you 3 bottles instead of only 1. So that's a little unclear too, because that's like, wait, are you going to take the 1 bottle out of my cart and now give me a buy 2, get 1?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's not the case at all. You're actually getting, if you take the bump, you're getting 4 bottles.
You're getting 3. So like you saying this verbally out loud is like showing me how unclear that is, and I'm shocked anyone has taken it at all. And this is awesome because that's probably a huge opportunity. We could, maybe we get 40% on that one, because I think that was actually our highest take rate one. I think that was the 30% one.
It was.
Yeah, this makes absolutely no sense when you're saying it out loud. I'm surprised I haven't had somebody read it out loud before.
Yeah, no worries. A lot of times we're too close to the problem and we can't really see it from the outside. That's why it's great to get this kind of outside perspective. So I think you could get a massive boost on all the bump offers across the 1, 3, and 6, because it's the same. It's really the same problem for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're converting pretty well also. So I think they'll convert even better. So now looking at the rest of your funnel, right? So after that bump on the order page, we're taken to the first upsell. Now here's where it kind of falls off, right? Because we just went from like 20, 30% conversion rate on the bump. Now we drop down to, it looks like as low as 7% on that first upsell.
Or which funnel are you on? I feel like most of maybe I'm thinking about the 3 and the 6, but I think those were closer to 15% on the 12 to 15% on that first upsell page with the which funnel are you looking at specifically?
Well, it's actually 15% on the 3 bottle buyers.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, but it's 9% on the 1 bottle buyers and 7% on the 6 bottle buyers. So the 6 bottle buyers are kind of a unique case in and of themselves. Let's talk about them first, actually, because they're your best buyer, right? You've got people buying 6 bottles, then you're taking them to a bump offer on the order page to buy 12 bottles, which is converting at 32%. It's phenomenal. Could convert even better if we clarify that offer. And then after those 12 bottles, they're taken to upsell 1, which is actually to buy 6 more bottles of the same product. So it's counterintuitive, but it kind of does make a little sense, because not everyone's going to take that 12 bottle bump offer. You're really treating that first upsell like a downsell. If they didn't take those 12, do they want 6? Which is smart, but the conversion rate is so far off you've got a 32% conversion rate on 12 more and a 7% conversion rate on 6 more. So that tells me there's something wrong there. And it could be two things, right? It could be that, because remember, they bought 6 bottles at the front. So buying 6 more might be too much for them here if they said no to the 12, and it might be too much for them if they said yes for the 12. Typically, the larger the order, like, then you want to double it, which is what you're doing with the 12. And you're treating it as a downsell, which I said it makes sense because then you're cutting it in half. But the downsell, or really the first upsell, is definitely not working at least for those 6 buyers. So what I would try is I would try to go right with upsell 2. I would take upsell 2 and make that upsell 1 just for those 6 buyers. So upsell 1 right now is more lion's mane, right? 6 more lion's mane. Upsell 2 is 6 bottles of cordyceps. So the cordyceps upsell is the new problem. And the way you position it on the upsell is really smart. And if you look at the conversion rate for those 6 bottle buyers, it jumps back up to 13%. So anytime you have a conversion rate that jumps higher than the previous upsell, something is wrong there. Because typically it would normally degrade, right? So that tells me if you move this to position 1, this may be even double conversion, maybe like a 20% conversion or a 25% conversion, which would be a game changer in terms of revenue and profitability for the funnel.
I like that a lot, especially going on what you were saying earlier about sending emails about taking 6 more lion's mane from the email. Because if we take that 6 more lion's mane off of that upsell 1 slot, then it makes more sense for us to pitch 6 more. Because if they took 6, 12, 18 bottles of lion's mane and then we email them and say, hey, do you want 6 more? Yeah, maybe they're going to do it. But like you're saying, if we put that cordyceps in that upsell slot 1, that would actually make more sense to pitch them more lion's mane over that first email as well. So this is kind of like working on the front end and the back end simultaneously.
Yep, exactly. The other recommendation, which I have low confidence this will work, but I want to give it to you anyway. Because the low confidence that it will work is because you're getting such a good take rate on that bump, again, for those 6 bottles. But one of the things you might want to put in the back burner to test at some point later, first I bring up the cordyceps, and then I test taking that bump out of the order page and putting it on the upsell. So for the 6 bottle buyers, the first upsell they get is the same offer, 12 more. Then the downsell kind of makes more sense because you could direct the path. If they say no, only the no people get the 6 bottle downsell offer. But because it's converting really well, 32% on the bump, I'm not 100% confident it would convert better as an upsell than it is on the bump.
Yeah, 32 is pretty high.
Yeah, so take it for what it is. It's probably worth a test at some point, but not priority test right now. I think the higher priority is clarifying the bump offer.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, these are great points.
That's upsell 1, upsell 2, right? Cordyceps is the new problem, and the way you position it is great. Right? You've got positioning as really the next problem, right? Here's how you can amplify lion's mane mental energy boost with increased sexual stamina while supporting your heart health. So that's the headline of the second upsell. So it's really a amplification, getting more out of what you already bought, which is perfect. The imagery on the page, I think, could use a little help. So a lot of people ignore like the design and they go 100% into the copy. It's really a combination of design plus the copy, right? I'm not downgrading the copy or the design. It's really both of them complement each other. But on your second upsell there for the cordyceps, the imagery you're using is the same images that you have on the sales page of like you holding the 2 giant lion's manes mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great image, but because it's on this upsell, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, is you trying to sell me more lion's manes that you already did? Because remember, these people just got 2 shots of more lion's manes. So you could be losing people here, and them not even really getting to the offer, thinking, oh, I know what this is. It's more lion's mane. I don't need more lion's mane. You just offered me 12. I just said no. You just offered me 6. I just said yes. Like,
yeah, you're absolutely right. I had it there. I wanted to keep like kind of like this congruent image of like Luke the Lion and like put that into their brain, but I think that would work just as well without holding the lion's mane mushrooms, because you're right, it looks like I'm about to sell you more lion's mane. They're like, Jesus, I just bought 24 bottles.
Exactly. Exactly. Remember, this is the drop in conversion. This is the this is a cordyceps. Yeah, this is the drop in conversion. This is the 7% conversion upsell. No, I'm sorry. This is the 13% conversion upsell. Second upsell, which is not bad as a second upsell. I think it could even do better, like I said, if it moves to the front. The offer there is, I think, 6 more, or 6. No, it's not more, because it's the first time you're offering cordyceps, right? So it's 6 bottles. Yes.
Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question on that upsell?
Sure.
For the cordyceps, so I agree with you. The pictures could use a lot of work. The first thing I'd probably change would be that header image, like you mentioned, of me holding those lion's mane and swapping that for something else. Would you prioritize testing that over testing the headline? Because I have not tested a new headline on the cordyceps page since it's been up, the upsell one. Yeah. So would you prioritize changing the header image? Do you think that's really killing conversions to justify testing the image before the headline? Because I'm usually like headlines first. Curious your thoughts there.
I would do the headline first and change the image at the same time.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah. You're on track with the multivariate at once testing.
Yeah, because I think you're correcting for a couple of sins at the same time. Because if we do a really super more powerful headline and the image is killing it, we'd never know if it was actually the headline that, like, the headline could have been fantastic, but it was dragged down by that image. So I would just change the image outright, and then do whatever headline testing you wanted.
Like treat them as one unit. So we're like, all right, the previous headline and image was a pair. This next one, we're going to test a new headline with a corresponding image, and that's the new test.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah, so the offer is cordyceps, 3 bottles of cordyceps at $29 a bottle. And it's really more kind of energy is what you're kind of going after here, right? It's energy, it's stamina, sexual health. So I like how you have like the next new problem. And it's the same cordyceps. Well, it's a different offer, but it's the same product for that second or that first upsell in your 1 bottle and your 3 bottles as well. And looking at your conversion rate there, it's not bad. It's not bad. And then your downsell there, if they didn't take that, is you reduce it, right? You get less cordyceps, a lower price, a lower quantity, which is standard and good practice. The conversion there, let me just take a look at that page real quick. So your second upsell, actually, where are we? We're the third upsell is at your reishi. And that is 6 bottles of reishi. And then if they say no to that, it is 3 bottles of reishi. Right? So you just cut that in half. And that's where the conversion rate kind of falls off the cliff. Right now we're in 3%, 5% range. The highest.
I'll tell you something. Sorry to interrupt. I'll tell you something that might be influencing that. We give them a free bottle of reishi when they purchase a 6-bottle pack. That's our incentive to go for the 6. So that might be it. That might be dropping the reishi conversions towards the end. Or it could be simply drop off due to all the other things we just mentioned.
Yeah, it's probably a combination. Probably more in just being, the lower you get in the funnel, the lower the conversion rate goes. So there's just kind of a natural degradation. So this kind of goes back to, not many people are taking like the Reishi really, or even the cordyceps, right? You're looking at for every 500 buyers you're bringing in on the front end, really only about 40 of them are taking the next thing. 40 of them are taking cordyceps or Reishi or some combination of those things, right? So this is again where the email sequence comes into play. It's like not a lot of people are taking the other things. They missed out on the upsells, whether they just had buyer fatigue, or maybe they just, had economic fatigue, right? They spent too much and they don't want to spend any more. This is where the email flow really comes into play.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm glad you're drawing my attention there. That has not been a place where I've focused. I pretty much just set up that sequence maybe like 6 months ago, that 5 email welcome sequence, and just left it alone. I'm just like, you gather data while I go test on the front end. It's about time to start really diving into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes. There's so many things to do in a business that's just how it happens. There's nothing wrong with what you did. Great for you for having a sequence in place out of the gate. Most people don't even have that, so don't beat yourself up too much.
Sweet. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, I know you started mentioning a couple of things over email about an info funnel, where you had a course and you're considering doing a high ticket, right? So those digital products could be really great because you have much higher margins on those, right, than you do on a physical product here. And since profitability really is the trouble here, you have higher profitability on those info products as well. So you have an info funnel with a $37 course that has upsells, basically upsells them with supplements, right? It has a really good take rate on those upsells. Are you still doing that info funnel course? Is that
No, but I'm glad you reminded me, because once I launched the advertorial, I kind of forgot about the info course. It's like I got a million ideas that I think are all good, but you know how it is. You think every idea you have is the best thing ever. But the info funnel, it's a 3% conversion rate on Facebook. When I was running it, it's 37. The first upsell is $97 to get you 3 lines main. And then the downsell is just 1 lines main. And between the two, we got a 60%, 50, 60% take rate on that. I haven't added any other upsells, and I could be sleeping on a profitable funnel right there just by adding in the cordyceps and reishi. My only thing was I wasn't clear on the vision with the info, because, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I was like, if I'm trying to do high ticket coaching, I think that upselling cordyceps and reishi and like just pushing supplements hard might detract from the brand and trust and authority there. Whereas like if I just show them lines main and I'm like, hey, here's this one thing you can get with your info product order, I feel like that would be set me up to do better on the high ticket side. But if I'm just trying to convert on the front end, absolutely, I should probably add in the cordyceps or reishi and hit it hard, just like I was with the standard TSL funnel. So since I emailed you that, I've been swaying away from the high ticket and thinking more about a low cost membership that I can offer on the back end, where essentially we would do a community weekly group call that I'm comfortable leading, teaching people about mental clarity. I got a bunch of friends in the space, doctors, experts, neuroscientists, people that I can bring on and talk about mental clarity. And I was considering doing that at like $49 a month or $97 a month. And the cool thing, without going into too much of a rabbit hole, is my manufacturer can actually produce a lion's mane extract, which is up to 3 times more potent than what we have. So I've designed a gold label. So we're going to offer for the members only the opportunity to purchase this ultra potent lion's mane. And this is literally the only place you can get it on earth. Like nobody else does this. The dude will like burn the lion's mane ashes and reinfuse them back into the extract to get the mind, body, and spirit of the lion's mane mushroom. It's really cool stuff. Reiki healers involved. So that's one thing that we can do and offer for the members, as well as the community and info coaching side of things. So that's what I'm considering doing, that info funnel. So 37 intro, then you get upsell the lion's mane, maybe cordyceps, maybe reishi. And I'm thinking on the thank you page, we've got a button where you can start a free trial of the Mental Clarity Club, is what it's called. And after 7 days, you'll be charged on the $49 monthly if you choose to continue. If not, you won't. So we'll obviously hit it hard on email, trying to get them into the membership.
That's great. I love the exclusivity and the story behind that gold label product. There's some really good sales copy gold in there that I'm sure will polish you up nicely.
Yeah, I'm excited to write that one.
Yeah. So I think this info product funnel could literally be another game changer for your business, right? Especially if it's working as a front end like that. I would definitely add in the reishi and the cordyceps, just like you have on your main funnel. Because the profitability could just be night and day compared to your profitability problem on your other funnel. Not that your other funnel is bad, right? You're still getting a $2,020, sorry. You're still getting a $220 AOV, which is really strong. And with these improvements that we talked about, you probably get even more there. But it's always good to have more than one front end acquisition funnel. When you're first starting out, I would recommend just focus on one product, one acquisition funnel. What you have, right? So it may be like the shiny object problem where it's like, there's too many things to do. But if you have the funnel up already and you only have one upsell, I would quickly add those other two upsells and just get a beat on the data at least while you go back and work on the email sequence and while you go back and work on the upsell flow that we talked about here. The other thing that I would do is since it's again going back to the margins on the info products, I would try that info as a bump itself. Maybe do 2 bumps, and maybe that info bump is just straight up. Here's the same offer, $37 course. And then test that against like a free trial, an info free trial. You get the free course, and you get added to the community, for only, $1 today or $7 today. You want to play with the price because of your profitability problem there. So $1 might be too little because we don't really know how long these people are going to stick yet, what their retention is going to be, what their lifetime value is going to be. Because there's 2 ways to play the game. One is to play it the lifetime value way, which you're kind of, it would be difficult for you to play that game because of the because of the debt you're accruing. So that's why I'm leaning away from like a $1, maybe like a $9 trial, maybe like a $15 trial. But testing that straight up against a $37 course. It may work that a $37 course is better than a trial there. The only downside there is that there's a lot packed in there to sell. You got to sell the value of the course. You got to sell the value of the group, right? And that's a lot to put in a bump offer.
Sure.
I don't want to detract from that first upsell either, because that's where most of the money is going to come from in your funnel. But it does make sense to try and test that info product or that info product plus community as maybe upsell 2.
Yeah, I like these ideas. I'm taking a bunch of notes.
Because one of the other ways that I think about funnels and upsells in particular, and not a lot of people think about it this way, is stacking your upsells by margin. So the higher margin products are first, and the lower margin products are second, third, fourth. The only exception is the more of the same, right? Regardless of the margin, the more of the same is always going to convert better with the supplement funnel. But your higher margin now is this info product, much higher margin than any physical product that you can sell. So putting that next is upsell 2 gives you the space in which to sell all of the benefits, because that's a lot to pack in that bump offer. But I would definitely try in both places. It might be low enough of a ticket that bump offer conversion maybe 50, 60, 70%, just because it might be a no-brainer. I don't know. This is where the market will have to tell us.
I love these ideas, and you're giving me an idea for my new ClickFunnels advertorial, especially. I think that's a game-changing idea you just gave me. I could probably make a heck of a lot more, higher conversion, and get more if I put that info product in that slot. And then what I like about that too is that leaves for your second idea, which is adding the trial membership into the upsell position off of this. So that's where it gets really juicy, because that can be the last part of the funnel, or slot 2 or whatever. I'd test it. But yeah, then it kind of lays them up. Like if they check that box, they would surely be interested in getting ongoing coaching and support if they bought that funnel, that info product.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. The other way you can do it is put 2 bumps here.
What would you put as the second bump?
So the primary is the $37 course, right? The secondary is that coaching, that membership that you mentioned.
Okay, yeah, for the free trial.
Yeah, and you want to be careful with the free trial for a couple of reasons, right? One, your primary reason you want to be careful with it is because of your profitability problem. A free trial is going to be great for if they stick, if they long term. It goes back to that LTV situation, right? It really all depends what the business needs. But I think the position that you're in, you can't really wait for the money to come in because you want to pay down that debt as fast as possible and get better terms, or even continue the same terms, but just make the funnel for the business more profitable. So a free trial won't really get you there. So it's probably going to convert better, but it may not be best for the business. You might want to just go right out for the, pay 50% for the first month or something, or because it's so much margin, it's so much profit there because it's a digital product.
What do you think about having maybe a condition where it is a free trial, but you only get it if you purchase the $37 info course? And let's say it gives you 7 days of the free trial in the group. So essentially they would receive one of our weekly coaching calls. We would have like a killer email sequence that's just trying to pitch them onto staying on. But essentially it would be like, check this to get our Unlock Mental Clarity blueprint. And then only if you checked the previous box, check this box if you'd like a free trial, which is like ongoing coaching. And that would be a copywriting problem to solve, how to word all that. But that might be a kind of a juicy deal. So we're getting the 37 to make them go inside of it.
I like the idea of separating it out, right? Having like, this is only available for those people who took this.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were going to go and combine them together, right? Combine the continuity with the info product, which I would advise you not to do because you're just going to be driving people away from that $37 that don't want to take it just because they don't want to be locked into the membership. But separating it out is a smart idea. And that also gives you another path on the email sequence as well of the people who bought this. Another chance to get into that offer. You could reserve the trial for the email sequence and try and just get as much money as you can on the front.
Yeah.
With a straight up offer for that coaching.
Yeah. That's cool. Wow. Got a ton of ideas here.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for the feedback on this. This has been great.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad it was valuable for him. Hope it's valuable for the listeners as well.
Yeah, man. I will definitely keep you updated with these tests. I'm going to start implementing them here day one. I'm going to start building some of these out as soon as we get off.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're motivated and revved up.
Yeah.
Looking forward to hearing the results.
Always, man. It's been a little tough with all the debt, and it's just been a huge mental game, staying focused, staying motivated. But I think what keeps me excited is, one, obviously the mission to get out the supplements and help a lot of people. That's motivating in and of itself, but also just seeing like, hey, when I test these new ideas, it does move the needle. What actions I do does impact the revenues. It does impact the profit. Like every single test will change something. I'm seeing that live here. Like as I test the advertorial, the cost per sale goes way down. Going to use some of these ideas and put them in, and I bet the AOV is going to go up. And yeah, just a couple tweaks away, I feel.
Yeah, you're one test away from profitability.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and your podcast has helped me a lot in realizing that. Just hearing the stories, it's great to hear some of these success stories and where people have been, and that's motivating and inspiring in and of itself. Because I just feel so blessed to have podcasts like the one you're putting out, and other people just sharing all the time. Because I feel like 10 years ago, if you tried to start a business like this, you would have probably felt completely isolated and alone and had no clue like what to test. You're just a couple key people running these big businesses, and you would just have to guess. But this is a great time we're at.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. That's really flattering. I like to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Well, do keep in touch, and thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.